Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to another video. Do you know how amazing your mind can serve for you if you know how to control and master your thoughts? And that is why they say that mind is the best servant if you know how to master your thoughts, right? But if you let your mind to become your master, you will end up nothing but as a slave of it. So how can we control our mind? How can we deal with these negative thoughts? Now, so many people think that they can remove a negative thought and plant a positive thought inside it. But in reality, you will never be able to remove a thought from your mind by force, right? Go ahead and do it, right? You will never be able to do that. The more you try, the more you use the force to remove a thought or forget it, the more it will come back to you and haunt you. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you a simple and a practical way to use the energy of that negative thought to drive it into a more positive state of our mind by simply asking these 5 questions from yourself, right? These questions will help you to come into this present moment, and it will encourage you to cultivate more wholesome qualities and wholesome thoughts inside your mind, okay? But before starting, I have to remember none of these practices and none of these things are easy. But with the time, if you keep on practicing it, right? If you stick into the process and if you keep on doing it, it will be very easy for you to do that, okay? And once you become used to it, and once you get used to that, it is very easy to deal with negative thoughts in your mind, and it is very easy to control your mind. So let's dive in. The first question that you have to ask from yourself is, what are the thoughts that keep me away from peace? What are the thoughts that steal my peacefulness inside me? When you ask this question from yourself, you can go through the weaknesses of yourself, right? Because the weaknesses are different from one person to another. For someone, the thought that steals their peacefulness is the anger. For another person, it is the jealousy. For another person, it is the procrastination or the laziness, okay? So when you ask from yourself, what makes me disturbed, okay? What steals my peacefulness? Then you will have a good understanding about what are the weaknesses inside you. Once you realize what are the weaknesses inside you, okay, what thought pattern steals your peacefulness, then it is very easy for you to deal with that negative state of your mind, okay? So ask from yourself, what steals my peacefulness? And have a good understanding about it. The second question that you can ask from yourself is, what am I thinking right now? This is one of the best questions that you can ask from yourself to bring your mind to this current and present moment, okay? To have a good understanding about the current situation of your mind. Because most of the time, our mind lives in either it is in past or it is in the future. It is hardly our mind lives in this present moment. So once you ask this question, what am I thinking now? Ask this question as much as possible from yourself. What am I thinking now? What am I doing now? When you ask from yourself that, it comes, your awareness comes into this present moment, okay? Because most of the time, our awareness travels from one arena to another. Maybe it is in the past, maybe it is in the future. It hardly comes to this present moment. Once you come into this present moment, it is very easy for you to solve the problem because you know what is going inside. Okay? When you ask from yourself that question, you can come up with so many answers. Okay? Ask it from yourself and you will come up with these answers like, my mind is in anger now, right? I'm at stress now. I'm in a problem. I'm thinking about something. I'm worrying about something. Okay? Once you identify that, right? Once you catch your thought, it is very easy to deal with it. Now you came to this present moment and you identify the thought. Now you have to ask the third question. The third question is this thought pattern helpful for me? Right? When you ask this question from yourself, you dive into that problem and you started to think the downside of that negative state. For an example, if you're in anger, if you ask from yourself, is this anger really gonna help me? Is it going to help me? Then you will come up with the answer, no, it is not going to help me. It only hurts me and the other person, right? It will lead to many problems. When you ask that question from yourself, it gives you the chance to think about the disadvantages and the downside of your thought patterns. The more you realize the disadvantages of your thought patterns, it is very easy to stay out of it because you know that it is going to hurt. Because most of the time, we do things and we think without realizing and without thinking about the disadvantages of it. And that is why it is the best thing to ask from yourself that, is it really going to help me? Now you identified your state of your mind. Now you came to this present moment. Now you know that it is not going to help you. As the next question, now you can ask from yourself, what is the best thing to do instead of staying in this negative state, right? For an example, if you're in anger, ask from yourself, what is the best thing to do instead of staying in anger? Now, what should I do now? Then you will come up with the answer that I should forgive people. I should let go of this anger. If I need to be at peace, right? If I need to find the peacefulness inside my mind, then I need to let go of this anger. Okay? I need to remove it. Now you come up with a solution. Now the best part is, the most amazing thing is, every one of us know what is good and bad. We know what to do and what not to do. Okay? Now for an example, let's say, now we know that too much sugar is bad for our health. But what we do, when we are going to make a teacup, we just pour some extra sugar into it. We put some extra sugar into it. We know it is bad, right? Without considering about it is bad, we do it. And that is why the correct thing that you can do is think about, what is the best thing that I can do now, right? Is it to forgive that people? Is it to let go of that jealousness? Is it to let go of that laziness and continue to work, right? When you think about that, you come up with a solution from yourself, okay? You find the solution through yourself. So ask this question from yourself, that what is the best thing that I can do to stay away from this negative state of my mind? Now you came up with a solution for your problem. Now what you have to do is to think about the benefits of cultivating this positive state of your mind. Okay? Try to think about the benefits of forgiving. Try to think about the benefits of staying away from jealousyness. Try to think about the staying away from laziness and getting to work. Okay? Once you do that, you will come up with the benefits of it. You will find the reward of it. The more you see the benefits of something, the more you will tend to be in that state. Okay? Because you know that you're going to get something good into your life. So try to ask from yourself, what are the benefits that I'm going to get by cultivating these wholesome thoughts? That is the fourth one. So now you ask all the questions from yourself, right? Now you know what to do and you know the benefits of it, right? Now there's only one thing that you have to do, and that is to take action. Go ahead and do it, right? Do the wholesome things and cultivate more wholesome qualities to your mind. But remember, none of these things are easy to our life, okay? It is very difficult. We have to try hard. We will fail when we are doing these things. But one thing that we have to do is we have to keep on doing it, whether we fail or not. Okay, once you do it continuously, okay, once you maintain that consistency, you will be good at it and it will be a part of your life, right? So that is how we deal with our mind. That is how we deal with the negative states of mind. So practice this and see it will work for you. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to another video. In today's video, we are going to discuss about another good quality that we all need to practice in our life, but we often forget this to practice. Now, what is this? It is called mudita. In another word, it is called appreciative joyfulness. What do you mean by this mudita? Mudita is the ability of being happy when you see someone else's happiness. For an example, let's say you're on social media and in the same time you're having a bad day. Now, when you scroll down, you see these nice pictures of people enjoying their life, living the best days in their life, being happy, and you're not having that life currently. In that case, what do you feel first? The first thing that we feel is we feel down about ourselves. We think like, my life is terrible. My life is worse. Okay? And the next step is, for some people, they feel a little bit of angry about those people. And that is called envy. Okay? So the Buddha teaches us to practice mudita to avoid jealousy in your mind or avoid envy in your mind. Okay? So how to do that? This is a very simple practice, but to get used to it is very, very difficult, because for a long time, for a long period of time, we have practiced this envy in our mind. Okay? You know, the nature of mind is the more we practice something for a long time, it gets normal. Okay? It gets easier. That is why we are so good at these evil things like, being angry, okay, being jealous, being distracted, okay, and being envious on others. That is why we are so good at those things. The Buddha teaches us to practice as a daily practice this practice of mudita, being happy on other people's happiness. Okay? Let's say now you're seeing someone who is better than you. Okay? More successful than you, more pretty than you, more clever than you. Let's say you're seeing someone like that. The first thing that you have to do is you have to wish the well-being of them, right? Think like, may they be successful even more. May they be happy even more in their life. You have to wish this from the bottom of your heart. You have to mean it and you have to feel it. Okay? When you do that, you feel happy. Okay? You don't feel the discomfort of envy. And also, in the same time, when you generate these mudita, thoughts of mudita, you generate a huge power in your mind to heal your mind and to be successful in your personal life. Okay? That is the power of mudita. Being jealousy, being envy on someone's life will never help you to be successful. Okay? Will never get you anywhere. One of the things that my teacher has taught me in my life is that don't be jealousy on someone's life, because jealousy will never help you to be successful. Okay? Jealousy will never help you to thrive and be more productive. And it will keep you in the same place, okay, without being successful, keep you in the same place, and it lets you to be angry on other people. So what we have to do, whenever we see some people who are better than us, we have to think that may they be better than us even more. Okay? May they be happy in their life even more. And that is called mudita. Okay? You can do, and you can start this practice from the people who are around you. Okay? There are people around you in your home, in your family. Start from them. Okay? Wish the well-being of people around you. Okay? Wish the well-being of your neighbors, your people who are in your city, your classroom, your school, your country. Okay? If you can spread those thoughts of mudita, you try and say this, you will feel much better in your heart. Okay? Even when you feel down, and even when you are in your bad days in your life, you can be happy about your life, because you are not comparing your life to other people. The reason why we feel jealousy and envy in our mind is we are constantly comparing our life to other people's life. We are so good at that. The more we compare our life to other people's life, the more we feel down about our personal life. Okay? So this is not something that we have to do. Okay? Instead of harboring jealousy and envy in our mind, the Buddha teaches us, practice the thoughts of mudita. Be happy on seeing other people's happiness. When you practice this, you will feel a big difference in your mind. Okay? And you will feel a big success in your personal life. So remember, mudita is the best medicine for the envy and jealousy in our mind. Namo Buddhaya. One of the most frequent questions that I get asked from people is that people say that I fall in love with this person and I get too much attached to him or her, and it hurts both of us, right? It hurts me and to the other person. How can I love someone without getting attached to that person? That is one of the frequent questions that people ask from me. Well, to understand about this, first of all, you need to understand what is the difference between love and attachment. I'll tell you the difference. If you're in love with someone, if you fall in love with someone, this means the pure love, the love, I would say. You say that I need you to be happy. Okay? That's what you say. I need you to be happy. If that happiness includes me, that's much better. If it does not include me, it's okay. Anyway, I need you to be happy in your life. That is love. And in attachment, you say, you need to make me happy. Okay? If they are not able to make you happy, then what do you say? Why aren't you making me happy? Okay? The love you give to me and the things that you do to me is not enough. That's what you say. That is called attachment. Okay? So did you see the difference? That means in love, you think about other people's happiness. Okay? As a result of thinking other people's happiness or wishing other people's happiness, you get the same thing back. Okay? But in an attachment, you wish your own happiness. Only that. You become, it's a form of selfishness. Okay? So this is the difference between love and attachment. So how attachment happens? Here's how it happens. You see this person and you think like, oh, he or she is perfect for me. He's the best thing for me. And I want to be with that person forever. I need to be with him or her forever. I don't want to let that person go off my life. Okay? I don't want let that person to leave my life. I need to be with that person. In that case, you hold on to that person tightly. Okay? You grab that person and you don't want to let go of that person. Then what you do in the next step, you try to protect him or her. Okay? Sometimes you overprotect him or her. So some people, they put restrictions. Okay, you should not use social media. You should not go and talk with other people, right? You should not come out of house. Remember, the more you try to hold on to someone's life, okay, and the more you try to control someone's life, chances are very, very high for you to lose that person. Because if you dive into the Buddhist teachings, okay, when you dive in deep into Buddha's teachings, Buddha says that you live in your own private world as well as others. Okay? Same like you, other people are also living in their private world. You create your own private world. You create your own happiness. You create your own sadness. And everything that you create is created by yourself. Okay? Your world is created by yourself. So it goes same with others, okay? They are living in their private world, okay? Same as you like to be happy and same as you like to be free, those people around you likes to be happy and free, Okay, so what happens when you try to put restrictions on someone? What happens is they don't like it. Okay, no one likes to be totally under control of someone. Okay, they need to have some sort of freedom in their life. So chances are very high for you to lose that person if you try to protect and overprotect and hold on to it and hold on to that person, and you think like, I need to be with that person. And what happens next is you become afraid of losing that person. You think, what if this guy or this person leave me? Okay, what will happen to me? Okay, my whole world will be a disaster. Okay, remember, the reality of life is no one in this world is permanent. Okay, everyone, everything, every experience in this life is subjected to change. That is the reality of life. So that is how attachment happens. But in love, you come to the reality. Okay, when you love someone correctly and purely without too much attachment, you come to this reality, to this real world. You know that these people around me are not going to live forever with me. It's not going to happen. Now, one of the things that Buddha advised us to remember every time, every single day, and every single time it is possible to remember, Buddha said, remember that everyone around you, okay, every person who loves you and who you love is going to leave you. Okay, you have to be separated from these people. I know it is painful. It is difficult to think because we love people, okay? We're afraid of losing them. But one day, in one way or another, okay, in sooner or later, this will happen. At least at the death, it will happen. So we have to leave these people around us. Okay, we are not going to live forever. So when you realize that is the reality, okay? When you realize that, you come to the reality and think, okay, I have a very, very little time with these people. Actually, the life is short. Okay, if nothing happened to us, we will live only for maybe like 85 years. Who knows? Okay, so life is very short. Then you know that I'm not going to live with this person forever. So what do? You show your love, affection, kindness, and compassion to this person in the best way that you can in this little time, because you know that you have a very little time. Okay, so to love someone, you need to understand the reality of life. What is the reality of life? Everything is subjected to change. Okay, everything is ever changing. That is called anicca in Buddhism. Okay, it is not permanent, it is impermanent. The second thing is that everyone in their own world is suffering. Okay, we suffer in our own private worlds, right? So we have our own private and personal sufferings. Same like that others also are suffering in their life. Okay, so if we expect that other people to fulfill all the needs and all the requirements 100% in our life, that's not going to happen. Realize it, okay? Because everyone personally is going through suffering. Understand about this. That is called dukkha. And the third one is that no one in this world is totally under your control. You cannot control people around you totally. Okay, that is called anatta. You're out of control of this world. Okay, the problem is we worry about the people that we cannot control. Okay, can you control people's behavior? No, you cannot do that. Can you control how people behave and how people treat you, how people talk to you, how people think about you? No, that is their own business. Okay, so what you can control is how you live in your life, the way you live in your personal life. That is totally under your control. So understand these three things. What is that? Everything is subjected to change. everyone is suffering in their own worlds, and not everyone in this world is totally under your control. This is called the truth in this life. This is called the reality in this life. Once you understand this, you know and you will learn how to be compassionate on people. Okay? How to love people. And then you can wish, no matter what happens to you, if you stay with me or if you did not stay with me, it's okay. I wish the good of you. I wish the happiness of you. Okay? Then that love will never hurt you. Okay? But attachment, when you get too much attached to people, it will definitely hurt you. So wish the good for everyone, wish the happiness on everyone, and then you will find the peaceness that you're seeking for in your life. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to another video. Today, I'm going to answer a question from the comment section. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I came across this comment asking, how can we make correct decisions in our life? How can we make correct choices in our life? Well, to learn about this, let's take a look at a sutta from the Buddha's teachings. Okay, there's a sutta named Ambalattika Rahulovada Sutta. In that sutta, Buddha advises monk Rahula. Buddha asks from monk Rahula, Rahula, what do you think about this? What is the purpose of the mirror? Then monk Rahula says, the purpose of the mirror is to check our reflection, sir. Then the Buddha says, same like that, whenever you are going to do anything from your body, from your mind, from your words, you have to do it after repeatedly checking on it. Okay, you have to be mindful and you have to think about it, you have to check it, and then after that you have to do it. Then in that sutta, Buddha further explains how to repeatedly check our actions. Buddha says, whenever you're going to do anything from your body, let's say you're going to do something from your body, okay? Then you have to think like this. Buddha says, is this deed that I'm going to do now hurts myself? Is it going to hurt myself? Or is it going to hurt others, other people around me? And the Buddha says, you have to think that is it going to hurt both of us, for me and for the others, okay? And then the Buddha says that you have to think that is it a skillful thing or a good thing or a wholesome thing or an unwholesome thing? Does it give happiness to my life? Does it bring happiness and mental serenity and calmness to my life? Then the Buddha says that if you find that action that you're going to do is unskillful and it hurts for yourself and to the others, and it is unskillful and it brings suffering to your life, then you should, by all means, you should not do it. Okay? So that is a bad choice. That means that you are going to make a bad choice. Okay? Then the Buddha says, if you find the action that you're going to perform in your life, okay, if you're going to perform an action which is good, which brings the happiness to your life, which makes the happiness and which benefits for you and for the others and both of you, if it is skillful, then by all means you have to do it. Now, what does Buddha means in this advice? Buddha says that means you have to, before you are going to do anything from your body, from your mind, from your words, you have to be mindful. You have to think, what am I going to do now? Right? Is it good or bad? Is it wholesome or unwholesome? You have to think about the consequences of your choices. If you're aware of the consequences of your choices, then you will make good choices. Okay? Most of the time, the reason why we are making bad decisions and bad choices is we are not aware of the consequences of that action. And we are not mindful about what we are doing now. So, in your life, before taking any decision, Just pause, take a rest, and pause and think, hey, what I'm going to do now, is it beneficial for myself? And is it beneficial for others? Okay. And does it hurt myself? Does it hurt others? Okay. When you think about that, you can make correct decisions. Okay. And you have to be brave enough to choose the harder path, difficult path, because making correct decisions and doing good things is not an easy task. It is always difficult. Although it is difficult, if you practice it, if you constantly do it, no matter what happens, you can bring the happiness to your life. So the best thing to do to make correct decision is to pause first, okay, and think about it, repeatedly check on it, and be mindful, and consider whether it is going to be beneficial for my life or to the others, and then make correct decisions. That is how we make good choices and correct decisions in our life. So that is what I have to share in this video. So I wish you all, may all of you be happy and safe forever. Namo Buddhaya. The nature of our life is we do not know what is going to happen in the next moment. Life is unpredictable. Life is mysterious, and that is what makes the life more and more interesting. No matter how good you are, no matter how talented you are, there are some times, and there will be some times, that things won't go in your way. Life will give you hard kicks. Life will give you tough lessons. I know in those times, we all feel like giving up. We all feel like quitting what we are doing. But you have to remember one thing. Everything that is in life is impermanent. Nothing is permanent. Not even your pains, not even your problems, not even the troubles that you go through today. It is going to change one day. Keep that in your mind and believe in it. This is to everyone who is going through tough times in your life. Please do not ever quit. Don't give up. Because the pain you go through today, the troubles you face today, the problems you face today is just a chapter in your life story. It's just a page in your life story. It's not your whole life story. Remember this. If you were to tell your life story in front of thousands and thousands of people after one day you become successful, if you were to tell a nice and a simple and a soft story, no one will be inspired with that story. The more you face troubles, the more you face problems in your life, the more tough your life becomes, your life story will be more interesting. And one day, your life story can be a survival guide for someone's in out there. Remember this. So whenever you're feeling down, whenever you're feeling like giving up, whenever you face problems, I need one thing for you to do. Go out and help someone. This is not something that you hear oftenly. Go out and help someone when they feel down. Okay? Give a helping hand to someone when they are feeling troubles and when they go through tough times in your life. Because you have to believe that what you give is what you get, right? Even though you are going through tough times in your life, you must be willing to help others because that gives the happiness, right? The more you face troubles, you can understand how others feels like it to go through tough times, okay? So when you feel down, always try to help someone. I know how it feels like to constantly fail, and I know how it feels like to constantly fall and be unsuccessful because I have been through that situation. Okay, so help someone, help people, right? And also do not ever give up. Sometimes you have to be patient because things get time to work out. Okay, things take times to get better. Okay, remember, great things take time to be successful. Okay, Do not believe in quick and instant results, because we are so used to this instant world. Because in this instant world, we need everything instant. Okay? This world is built up to give you everything instantly. The outer sources, when you log on to social media, it comes instantly. You can take something instantly. You can know about something instantly. You can download something instantly. But in real life situations, things are not instant. It takes time. Successfulness takes time, right? Happiness, it takes time. Peacefulness takes time. Relationships to build up, it takes time. Nothing is instant in real life. You have to wait. You have to be patient. So in those times, we feel anxious and worried, right? We feel stressed. But remember, when you feel stressed, when you're tired, it is okay to rest. But it is not okay to quit. Because as long as we live, as long as we survive on this earth, as long as we have our lives, we can have a chance to be successful. We can be better at what we are doing. So this is to everyone who is going through tough times in your life. Believe that one day you're going to be happy. One day you're going to be proud about yourself if you focus on yourself and if you work on yourself. So keep in your mind, no matter how tough the situation is, never ever give up. Keep moving forward. Namo Buddhaya.
Imagine you're having a rough day and you're scrolling through social media and you see these nice pictures. People are celebrating their life, having the best days in their life, celebrating and becoming happy. When you see these pictures, what do you feel inside? Sometimes we feel even more stressed and we feel like there's no value in our life. One of the biggest enemies of our happiness is comparing our life with others' lives. There is some sort of jealousy and envy that builds up in our life, in our mind. That is why becoming envious and jealousy and comparing our lives to others is one of the biggest enemies of our happiness. To overcome this, the Buddha introduced a special practice, and that is called mudita. Mudita means appreciative joyfulness. Always remember, when we compare our lives to others, and when you build up that jealousy and envy within yourself, it is not going to help in your success, in your life, right? Sometimes, like we stop in a certain place, okay? We hold on to one emotion and we stay in that envy and jealousy and thinking about other people's lives without making our life successful, without focusing on our life. So the Buddha said, when you see these successful people in the society, when people around you living the best days in their life and your life is not having such experience, always look up to them and think and wish the happiness of them. Okay? That is called appreciative joyfulness. Wish the happiness of beings around you, even though you are going through a tough time. When we see successful people, we should not be jealous at them. It is not going to help us. What we have to do, we have to wish the success on them. When you see someone is having the best days in their life, think of him and say, oh, may he be happy even more. May he have a prosperous and a happy life forever. If you do that, you're not going to give the space for that envy and unhappiness and that negativity in your mind. The more you practice this positive mindset, the more you practice this appreciative joyfulness, you can be happy about yourself. Even on the hard days, even though your life is in a tough place. So that is why whenever we see successful people, people having a happy life, we have to wish the happiness of them. That is called mudita. So when we practice this simple Buddhist practice of mudita or appreciative joyfulness, we can be happy about our life and also we can be peaceful within. Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to another video. Today it is raining and it is quite misty out here and it is very peaceful. It is about rain. I have read this somewhere else. I cannot remember the quote. It says, rain feeds two types of people. Okay, rain is the food for two types of people. The first one is the meditator, and the second one is the lazy person. Okay, for a meditator, for a person who likes to meditate, rain is the best food and it is the best environment. Okay, and also for the lazy person, it is the best environment for him as well. Okay, so let's talk about the meditation today a little bit. So what about the vipassana? How to practice it? Now, vipassana gives the meaning, the word gives the meaning that to see something clearly, to see something as it is. Okay, this practice was introduced by the Buddha himself. Okay, so how can we practice it? There's one verse that Buddha explains about the vipassana. It is very nice, and the Buddha says, "Atitang nanva gameya napati kanke anagatang." That means, do not run into past and do not hope for the future. Yadatitang pahinatang apatang cha anagatang. What is past, it is gone. And what is future hasn't yet come. Okay? And then the Buddha said, Pachupannanchayo dhammang tattha tattha vipassati. Everything that occurs in this present moment are conditioned. Everything that we experience and we sense in this world are conditioned, that they arise due to conditions. Pachupannanchayo dhammang tattha tattha vipassati. You have to wisely reflect on all those things, all those sensations that occurs in this present moments, and wisely. Okay, that is about the vipassana. Vipassana is all about bringing your mind into this present moment and become the observer in it. Now, normally we react to everything that we sense. Okay, there are lots of sensations coming from this outer world, and what happens with us is we react to them always. Okay, either it is with the consciousness, we consciously react to something, and also sometimes unconsciously we react to certain things. Okay, so the Buddha said, be mindful about those sensations and do not react. Instead of reacting, try to observe it. Do not judge the thoughts, do not judge the feelings, be the observer. Okay, for an example, let's say you got blamed by someone. Okay, and you come home with this mind inside you, all those words inside you, all those insults inside you, and you come home and you sit on the bed, maybe lie down on the bed and look at the ceiling, and you start to worry. Okay, but the reality, let's take the reality of this situation. Okay, now let's say someone is insulting you. When someone insults you, you hear that sound in that moment, in the present moment. As soon as that person finished insulting you, everything that he has spoken is gone. Isn't that true? What you heard, what you heard is gone. Now, what I have spoken before in the beginning of this video is gone now. It's finished. Okay, it has vanished. But deep in our mind, we recreate all those sensations, we recreate all those emotions and feelings and all those words in our mind, and we start to worry about it. Sometimes we start to be happy about certain things. If that makes you happy, we start to be happy about it. Isn't that true? That is the thing. So what Buddha said is, be mindful about it. Just observe it. Do not try to react to your thoughts. Okay? When the happiness comes in, we don't try to suppress our thoughts And also, we don't try to express our thoughts. What we can do is we can be in the middle and we can observe the thoughts. Okay? When happiness comes in, we let that comes in. We let that come in and we become the observer. Do not react. Not reacting. Just see it arise and see it pass away. Okay? It is something that you watch a traffic by the side of the road. You sit down the side of the road and you watch the traffic. You watch the vehicles pass by. You don't try to stop the vehicles. You don't try to run behind the vehicles. We just try to observe it. We just try to notice it. And we see these vehicles come into our field of vision and it goes away. And you start to realize that every sensation, when you observe your feelings, when you observe all the sensations that happens within you, you start to feel that nothing stays forever. It is impermanent. It has the nature of arising and it has the nature of passing away. Every sensation, everything that we feel in, and everything that we feel in our world is impermanent. So that is what about the Vipassana. When you practice that, you can go into a silent place, maybe sit down on a chair, maybe sit down on the floor and close your eyes. And slowly, you can observe what comes into your mind. Okay? And be the observer. Do not try to react with them. Okay? When you see happiness come in, you see that happiness come in and you observe it and it goes away. When you see that sad thoughts come in, you feel that and you observe it and you let it go. That is how you become mindful and when you practice Vipassana. When you do that, you start to realize that one thing in every aspect and every sensation in your life, and that is impermanence. Once you realize this nature of impermanence, that is what you call the realization of truth. Okay? So keep that in your mind and practice it. Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya. Welcome everyone to another video. So today, let's talk about anxiety and how a Buddhist practice can help you to deal with it. Okay, first of all, let's take a look at what anxiety is. Anxiety is a common human emotion that we feel when our lives are in danger or when our lives are in threatening situations. We feel that fear and worry. So that is a common, normal human nature. But for some people, they feel this fear and worry when there is no such danger in the reality. When there is no such threatening situation in the real world. But they still start to worry about it or they still start to fear about it. So that is where we can do something about it. Most of the time, people, they hide their anxietic emotions. These anxious emotions, they try to hide them. They laugh, they smile, they seem to be good looking, but inside their head, there are many things going on. It's like the monkeys jumping here and there. They are distracted and they have that constant fear and worry inside them. Right? It's very heavy. So what can we do to ease up these things and how we can deal with these things? Well, there are certain practices that we can practice according to the Buddhist way to help you to deal with these anxiety thoughts. First of all, the first step is to acknowledge the anxiety. Because our great teacher Supreme Buddha told that every one of us, every living being is subjected to suffering. Buddha said, where there is birth, there is suffering. So no matter how rich we are, no matter how talented you are, no matter what social state that you are living,
fear, worry, suffering is the common ground for all of us. So, first of all, we have to acknowledge that my mind has these anxious thoughts. Because most of the time, when people become anxious, when they have these panic attacks and when they have these anxiety thoughts, what they do is they try to hate that emotion. They try to fight with that emotion. The more you fight with that emotion, the more you become angry about that emotion, the more you consider about that emotion as a monster, it will take control over your life. So what you have to do? First of all, you have to think, this is a common human response, or this is a common human nature, so I must acknowledge it. That is the first step, right? Because you can remember the Buddha's word, all beings are subjected to suffering without any exception. The first step. Then the second step. This is one of the most wonderful practices in Buddhism. That is the mindfulness. And you know that Buddhism has a great background of mindfulness. So our great teacher Supreme Buddha taught us there are 4 grounds of mindfulness. This is taught in Satipatthana Sutta. So the first one is being mindful about your body. The second one is being mindful about your feelings. The third one is being mindful about your mind. And the fourth one is being mindful about the mental states. So we can do any kind of mindfulness practices in here, but there's an important practice that Buddha mentioned, and that is being mindful about your mind. That is called Chittanupassana. Simply, the Buddha teaches us you have to observe your thoughts, right? So when you observe your thoughts and when you become mindful about, when you become aware of your thoughts, what happens to you? It creates this little space between you and your thoughts. It separates you from your thoughts. Because most of the time, when we feel fear, when we worry about the things, and most of the times when we are living our life, we think that the thoughts are ourself. That means when you feel angry, you think, I am the anger. I am fear. I am the worry. I am the anxiety. But you're not the anxiety. And it reveals you that your thoughts are anxiety and your thoughts are in fear. It creates this little space between you and your thoughts. It's like, let me give an example. It's like the sky, right? Sky is there, and consider the sky as you, the blue color one. And these clouds come into the sky. They're like your thoughts, right? So what is the nature of a cloud? It comes and it goes. Sometimes gloomy, sometimes shiny, sometimes scattered. It takes different shapes and different moods. But still, there is sky. It is not changed. So it gives you this feeling, when you do this Chittanupassana, being mindful about your mind, your thoughts, what happens to you is you're watching your thoughts without judging, without comparing yourself with that, and without being worrying. You just watch your thoughts. When you separate your mind, yourself from your thoughts become an outside object. It's like you're taking something to your hand and you're just observing it. Then what happens to you? Then you can take your time to think, oh, what is this thought? Then you can reveal and you can identify, my mind is now in anxiety mode. My thoughts are anxiety. My thoughts are anxious. So when you identify your thoughts, that gives you And that it gives you that understanding that I am not anxious. It's only my thoughts are anxious. And then you have to use your wisdom to think, what is the nature of this thought? What is the nature of this mental emotion? This is impermanent. This comes and this goes away. So it gives you this feeling of impermanence, right? So that is what you have to think. And also, you can analyze this thought. When you become anxious, if you are constantly becoming mindful about, now remember, when I say these things, it may seem like, oh, it is easy for you to say like that, but when we become anxious, it is very hard to do that. Yes, it's very hard to do that. Remember, every good thing that brings the happiness to your life is a little bit challenging. You have to take time. You have to practice it, right? You have to go through some tough situations when you're doing it. But if you're constantly doing it, if you are constantly practicing it, it gives you the results. So what do you have to do? Just analyze your thought. My thought is in anxious mode. So what gave me this anxiety? Always remember, your anxiety is always triggered by an emotion, a delusional emotion. So you can analyze the thought. What made me anxious? What made me fear? Then you can go deep into it, and then you can find, when you're not judging it, you can find, this is not something to be fear of. This is not something to be worried about. Then you can come back and think, okay, this is just an emotion. This is just a thought. So let go. I will let go of it. That is what gives you this becoming mindfulness. And it gives you, and it brings you to this present moment. Right? When you're analyzing your mind and when you're constantly becoming aware of your thoughts, you come to this present moment, which is very peaceful. Right? When you're thinking about the future, your mind is in anxious mode. Right? Most of the time, when the anxiety kicks in, what happens to you? Your mind jumps to the future. What will happen in the next time? What will happen in the future? What will happen to me? That's what you're thinking. That means your mind is in the future, right? But when you become mindful, your mind comes to this present moment, which is peaceful, which is cool and tranquilizing. You can be here right now, right here, and become more peaceful. That will help you immensely. So practice mindfulness little by little. This is a simple trick that you can do. Just ask from yourself, what am I thinking now? When the fear kicks in, when the fear or the worry comes in, when you're becoming anxious, just remember to yourself to ask from your mind, what am I thinking now? What are my thoughts? Then you can identify your thoughts, right? So that is the mindfulness practice. And then the last part, show some compassion to yourself. Don't expect 100% perfection from yourself. Remember, perfection is not the success, right? People have this delusional idea to be perfect always. Don't think about it. No one can be perfect like that. Just do your best, right? That is what you can do. So I hope you got some light on this topic. So I wish you all, may all of you have a peaceful life, a healthy life, and may all of you be able to live happy forever. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome and welcome back to another video. Today, let's talk about how to have a better sleep and a healthy sleep. Now, sleep is something that we all struggled, and we all have struggled in all of our lives, right? And there are many people in this world who struggle with sleeping. They go to bed and they don't find sleep. Sometimes they wake up in the middle of the night for no reason. Okay, sometimes when they wake up in the morning, they feel miserable and tired even more. Okay, so there are a lot of problems with sleep. So in this video, I am going to share with you 3 tips that we monks practice in order to have a better sleep, right? This is in our daily routine. So without any further ado, let's dive into the video. Tip number 1. The first thing that you have to do is to wind down for your bed. Okay, that means sleep is something that we have to approach gradually and peacefully. It's like you're getting ready for an occasion, right? Now, before for an occasion, maybe an interview or a meeting, what do? You get ready, right? You get your clothes done, you get your documents done, and you get ready for it. Same like that, sleep is an important occasion in our day. So what we have to do, we have to get ready for it. Okay, so how can we get ready? So here are a few things that you can practice to wind down for your bed. The first thing that you have to do is to have a light meal for your dinner. Now for the monks, this is not a problem because we don't have our dinner. We only have 2 meals per day, right? Some monks have 1 meal per day. Normally we have 2 meals per day, that is breakfast and lunch. We don't have the dinner, okay? So have a light meal for your dinner and eat at least 4 to 3 hours before the bed, before your sleep time. Now when you do this, your digestion is over and it is finished and it is at rest. Now you can go to the bed peacefully and drink enough water before you go to bed, okay? And also, this is something that many people do, right? Do not bring your mobile phone or laptop or any device that you're using to the bed, right? There are many people who use, right? There are thousands of people who use their mobile phone on their bed before sleep, okay? Sometimes you scroll and scroll and scroll, and so finally you find that it is 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. in the night, in the morning. Don't do that. So what do you have to do? Avoid as much as possible this screen time, blue light screen and everything, avoid them, okay? Because these screens and these lights stimulates our brain, okay? If you can be relaxed and listen to a meditation music or a calming music, then that's better, okay? So you have to wind down before sleep. And another thing that you can do is to have a shower, right? If it is a cold shower, then it is much better. Or if you cannot have a cold shower, then have a lukewarm water shower, okay? Cleaning your body will help you to wind down and make your body feel relaxed, okay? Then even your mind feel peaceful, okay? So this is how we wind down for our bed. Tip number 2 is to practice the gratitude, right? Now we monks, when we go to the bed, right, we just sit on the bed and we close our eyes and think the people, and we recall all the people who have helped in our life, right? They may be your parents, they may be your relatives, your husband, your wife, your children, or there are certain things that we feel grateful for. So what do you have to do? Be grateful for them, right? Simply say thank you for all of them, right? Remember and recall all the people who have helped you in your way, in your life journey, and be thankful for them in your mind. That is something that we can do, because gratitude is a powerful emotion. If you generate it, you feel the happiness within your mind, and it will help you to have a peaceful sleep. So tip number 2 is to practice gratitude. And finally, as tip number 3, what you have to do is to recall a good deed that you have done earlier. This is something that I personally do before every day, before I'm going to bed. I recall all the good deeds that I have done during the day, good things that I have done during the day, and also I recall the good things that I have done in the past, okay? So it is always good to keep one good deed or few good deeds in your mind that you have done in the past to make you feel happy. When you recall them, you can feel happy about them. I personally have 2 good deeds in my life. Among every other good deed, these 2 good deeds help me a lot to feel much more happy. They may be not big things, but you feel so much happy when you think that you have done it. Okay? It can be a little act of kindness, right? It can be giving some little food to an animal or a person that makes you feel happy. Before every time you go to bed, what you have to do is to recall all the good deeds, good things that you have done in the past. Now, when you do this, you will feel a very positive self-esteem in your mind, right? You feel that your life is worthy and you have done good deeds, right? You are a good person, because there are many people, they go to bed regretting about their life. Okay, remember, no matter how hard or tough your life becomes, there is always positive things in your life. There are always good things that you have done in your life. The only thing that we have to do is to recall them, right? The more we remember the good things that we have done, the more we become happy. That is one result of doing good things. So these are the few things that we can do to practice to have a better and a healthy sleep. So as a summary, what you have to do is, first thing, wind down, relax your mind before you go to bed. Number 2, practice gratitude. And finally, number 3, recall the good things that you have done in your day and in your life. If you do these things and if you practice these things, I can assure that you will have a peaceful and a healthy and a better sleep. So practice these things and have a peaceful night. Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya. I need to ask a question from you. Do you really exist? Now, have you ever thought of this question? This sounds like a funny question, right? Do you really exist? And do I really exist? Now, this was a question that was asked from the Buddha on point, but the Buddha refused to give any answer to this question. Buddha kept silent to this question. The reason why the Buddha kept silent was not because he did not know about anything about this, but the Buddha said that by answering these kind of questions will lead to a lot of wrong views, will lead to a lot of problems, okay? Now, for an example, if one said like, okay, I do not exist or you do not exist, then there will be many questions and many problems. Then it will lead to many problems like, okay, if I do not exist, then who is the person who is experiencing all those karma? And who is the person who is being reborn? Okay. And also, if I don't really exist, what's the point of doing good and bad things? Right? There's no point of doing good and there's no point of doing bad. Okay. And there's no point of becoming kind to people. And there's no point of helping people. So it will lead to many problems and many ethical dilemmas by answering these kinds of questions. And that is why the Buddha refused to give answers on point and directly to these kind of questions. But the Buddha explained that who you are, okay? That's what Buddha focused on. So the Buddha said that by answering these kinds of questions, by saying that you don't exist, you fall into one extreme, and that is called nihilism or complete annihilation. Now, one of the complaints that Buddha got in his time was the people complained him that he was a complete annihilator. Okay, he annihilates people by letting them into the nibbana. So people considered nibbana as a complete annihilation. But it is not a complete annihilation. The Buddha said that when you say that you don't exist, it falls under one extreme, and that is called nihilism, which was known as ucceda. And if you say that you exist, then it falls into the other extreme, and that is called the sarvasvata or the eternalism. What Buddha teaches you is, what the Buddha says that my teachings lies in the middle. I teach you the middle way.
What is the middle way? To find what you consider as who you are or true self, okay, and realize the nature of it. The Buddha did not say that you don't exist. The Buddha did not say that you exist. The Buddha said what you consider, what one consider as self or I, is subjected to change. Right? Now, what we consider as I, we consider as I is our eyes, our ears, our nose, our tongue, our body, and our mind. Okay, this is whom we call I. And also, what are the things that we called consider as ours? The things that we see, the things that we hear, the things that we smell, and the things that we taste, and the things that we physically feel, and the things that we think. So all those things together we called as I or my things, okay, myself. So the Buddha said, just take a look at to these things, what you call self, and understand that all the things that you consider as yourself is subjected to change. It is ever changing. For an example, our eyes and our ears, nose, tongue, body, mind is ever changing, right? What we see in this world, what we experience in this world is subjected to change. Right here, right now, it is changing. So the Buddha said, what you consider as I or myself or mine is subjected to change. Then the Buddha said, if something is subjected to change, and that is suffering, okay, that leads to suffering. For an example, let's say we are having a good time and we are having good experiences and good feelings and happy feelings. So what we like to do, we like to feel, we like for them to be permanent. Okay, we like to feel good forever, but it is subjected to change. Okay, it is changing, and when it is changing, we suffer. And let's say we are having a bad experience or difficult experience, then with what we think is, okay, this pain, this suffering is going to last forever, but it is also subjected to change. So that is why the Buddha said, what you consider as you is subjected to change. And if something is subjected to change, it is suffering. And then Buddha said, if something is suffering, should it be considered as mine or I or myself? Turns out it is not. Why? Because if something is suffering, we should not consider it as ourselves. We don't like to consider it as ourselves, because as human beings, okay, as beings, we all like to be happy, not to suffer. Okay? And that is why the Buddha said, Buddha did not say that you do not exist. The Buddha did not say that you exist. The Buddha said, what you consider as yourself, what you consider as I, is subjected to change, and it is suffering. And then, as it is suffering, it should not be considered as self. Now, this whole concept is called anatta in Buddhism. Anatta, the word anatta, is oftenly translated as no self. But rather, when you take this word no self, right, it gives the meaning that you don't exist. That is why many people say, okay, the Buddha said that you don't exist. No, Buddha did not say that you do not exist. The Buddha said what you considered as I or you is not yourself. Okay, it should not be considered as yourself, and that is what the concept of anatta. Rather than saying no self, it's much better to say that it is not self. And this is the whole idea behind the concept of anatta in Buddhism. So I hope you learned something new today. I wish you all, may all of you be happy and healthy. Namo Buddhaya.